Hi guys, this is Catipa for HUSNG.com, and I'm playing a regular in the Hyper Turbo games on Merge. These are $100 games. It's just a friendly match, and I've played with him before a little bit, but it was a long time ago, so I'm not going to base too much on those reads. The first game was just a standard all-in, Ace-Jack versus Ace-King, and the second at the bottom just had a hand where I basically bricked some straight draw and chose not to continue versus barrel. Okay, and hopefully we won't have any more problems with setting things up. Since a lot of people requested I turned off the sound, and I'm not really used to that, so I hope I don't time out. But might be a better experience for you guys. Okay, so I see bet here, and I do know from previous experience that he tends to check raise a lot of his value hands, both on dry boards and wet boards, just all over the place. He has a very aggressive check raise range, so I would have barreled all in on this run out. Okay, Jack 3 off, just a bit too weak. And here, I think I can shove. I'll have a bunch of 2 pairs too, but I've seen him hero call quite a lot in the past. And I think with an 8 and possibly one of the better 7s, he'll still call. I also think a flush draw might have donked out. I'm not entirely sure if he does that. Okay, and there we go, one of the better 7s. I'm pretty polarized, so I'm not surprised he called. Or at least my range is perceived as being polarized. Here he just calls, and it's an out 4 to a straight. So I don't think I'm really getting much value. Plus, I don't think he'll bluff a ton of the time. When he just calls there, he probably has a pair. And I beat most of the pairs since he would have check raised a top pair, so I'm putting him on a 6 and 8 almost all the time. Nine 10 off could also be limped. You can still limp fold at the stack depth, depending on how aggressive he is, of course, but I like to shove when I don't have much information. Also recall that he wasn't opening as wide as most regulars. He likes to balance out his ranges a bit and limp both with traps and weaker hands, and the same with the raising. I think it's maybe slightly more polarized. Yeah, and so I didn't shove Jack 5 suited, but oh my god, no. Ace 5, wow, okay, see, this is the problem with not having sound. Yeah, I didn't shove Jack 5 suited, but I think versus a lot of regulars it's a pretty easy shove because they open still quite a wide range. If they're opening 75% plus at 20 big blinds, you can shove that profitably, and it doesn't play amazing post flop. You don't necessarily have to shove it 100% of the time, but I think it can be a quite strong play versus a lot of players until they adjust and call wider. He's barreling here. I really don't love the spot, but still think it's a bit too weak to fold. Plenty of 1 card straight draws, still flush draws on the board that could be continuing. And yeah, he had a really weak barreling card, a 3, and I didn't really think he'd follow through with just total air and no equity. But I guess he expects me to float a little bit too wide. A 3 is probably folding to a lot of bet sizes, so I'm just trying to get value from a queen. But even with a queen, he's in a pretty tough spot that I think he'll call. And I'll limp this. One advantage of limping really trashy hands is that you never really have a big decision if he shoves. Like if I had 9-10 suited or something, it would really suck. But with Jack 5, it's just such a garbage hand that if I see a flop, yes, I don't flop that well, but I do get to see it at least quite a bit at the time, I think. And if I min raise, I just bloat the pot, and he's gonna have a better hand. So it can be good if they're folding the c-bets a lot, and many other considerations are there. But you just lose so little in terms of the fact that your equity is so poor when they shove that I think limping at a standard is pretty good, unless you're facing a really aggressive player, and then maybe just either fold or just min raise if they're not 3-bet shoving a ton, but being more aggressive versus limps. Ace Queen, I could go either way. I actually think he's not 3-bet shoving a whole ton of garbage, so might have been good to open shove, but this does protect my range later, so he's not just gonna think at 10 big blinds that I don't have an ace, and a lot of my strong hands are simply not in the range anymore for min raising, so he can go crazy. Yeah, like 6-5 suited, another hand that if I knew more about just how wide he's opening and what kind of range he actually has, obviously, you can't just go by the number and see like, oh, 60%, that's really tight, etc. Yeah, if I had more information, I would definitely be quite happy shoving that too. Okay, this is a spot where he's not going to be barreling a ton, I think, so I like to try to induce with check raise. Even though it's true that there aren't many hands we're afraid of, there also aren't many hands that improve. Okay, he improves on a king and an ace, and basically that's it, except of course flush, which is something we don't actually want. But yeah, I would prefer to call on actually a more connected board and with more overcard potential, because I think his barreling range would be a little bit wider there. Here I'll probably check raise just because I think I'll get barreled so much if I simply call. And okay, it's not the sizing I would use. And the reason is that the typical play for most guys is they call here if a deuce, a 3, or maybe some high cards and other stuff like that, and not really with a 5. I'm gonna fold, but I'm just kind of thinking a little bit. I like to try to analyze the ranges even when I know the action I'll take ahead of time, and it's also balancing out my timings a little bit. In case you missed it at the top, basically I shoved a6 off for his min raise, and he had 10s I think, and just won. I think I remember him being a bit aggressive with 4-bets, so if he does still have that tendency, hands like ace-king, ace-queen could go into a non-all-in 3-bet range instead, partly to induce and just to get value, because I think he also was a bit loose versus 3-bets. I'm opening really wide versus him. I'm curious just how much he's going to adjust by 3-betting a lot. Because so far it seems like he's actually pretty tight in his 3-betting, but the sample size is just so small that it's completely irrelevant. If I had the 10 of spades, I would actually like to check back here just to see how he plays it, to see if he's, for instance, checking back a jack or betting it, or same would go with all kinds of drawing hands. Whoa, what's going on here? My internet is just going crazy, I guess, because I actually clicked to bet in both of these spots. This is the worst. I'm trying to make a video for a while now, and Now my internet's not working, I guess. Let me test it. Well, good thing it didn't happen at Meaningful Stakes. I might have to cut the video short though if this continues. Wow, okay, I'll just let me go to speedtest.net real quick, check it out. It seems like the site's loading pretty fast, so I don't even know if it's on my end. It might just be merge. Okay, he says he has internet problems as well. Weird. I actually almost never see this happen, so I'm surprised. Yeah, my internet's clocking in at 55 megabits per second. So, nope, not an internet issue. Wow, alright, well. I was worried about having to keep up with a live play video while not having done commentary in months, but if it's gonna go this slowly, I think I shouldn't have been worried. I'll pause it and hopefully we'll be back up pretty soon. Maybe they're just doing an update and just canceling all the games.